It helps with my cataracts.
Mm-hmm. It's annoying because you can only get so much on the PC before it gives you the denied for fraud protection. It's like, it's not fraud. I'm just a fucking idiot. What do you get the fuck out of here?
Oh man, all right. So anyway, hold on just a second, guys. Welcome everyone to another episode of Trek Talk with Kirk and Handy. I am StrangeKirk.
And we have Inchoate and CaptainMarkRedAngel on the stage.
Okay, I want to take a moment to address this. It's Inchoate. It's actually a word. Somebody Google it.
Inchoate, whatever.
Yeah. You just I was gonna actually bring that up. I've only been playing this game with you for what, 2.5 years, and you still haven't figured out what the fuck my name is?
A lot of people don't speak English.
Fuck your name.
Like, anyway, so
you're gonna call Smith from now on.
At least you dropped the freaking. Why did you? I never knew this. Why did you have 7 in your name, Andy?
Because Handyman was taken, and I had to put something in there, so I just said, lucky number 7. That sounds good. Here we go.
Well, that's about the weakest fucking explanation I've ever heard.
I know. Because there's always a minimum of 7 participants in his handies.
Yeah, exactly. That's the real reason. You weren't supposed to tell anybody.
So anyway, for those of you joining us, Tech is not here. Honestly, we don't know where the hell he is. We've got sick of waiting for him, so we just started the show. So he may show up halfway through. He may not. Whatever. No one cares.
Well, we kind of care. A little
bit. We cared enough to try to call him, and he didn't pick up. And then we decided to get on with our lives. So here we are. So anyway, what Inko was talking about earlier, talking about the fraud protection, is funny, man. I get a call at like 6 a.m. I'm still hammered, and they were like, "Is this Mr. so and so? I don't want any creepers to know my last name." I was like, "Yep, that's me." And I'm got one eye open, and they were like, "So, we see some charges here. They're kind of suspicious." I said, "Let me guess. They're from the Apple App Store?" And they were like, "Yeah."
Don't judge me, motherfucker.
It was 100% confusion and judgment. They were like, "So it's like X amount of dollars. There's a lot of zeros here. Was this you?" And I was like, "Sadly, yes."
Fuck you, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Exactly. And they were like, "Well, we just, we just want to be sure because this is
abnormal."
You could almost tell if that call wasn't being recorded, that dude would have been like, "What the fuck are you buying?"
Yeah.
They're thinking it. What could you possibly be spending this much money on in the Apple Store?
That's what I'm saying. What's going on there that do I need to know about? This
must be important.
Is there a Bitcoin investing app that I don't know about or something?
Oh, I can't wait for this new bill to go through Congress where the IRS gets your bank account info now. I'm going to get a phone call real fucking fast.
How many pairs of Beats headsets are you buying?
I'm a big Dre fan, okay?
Jeez. I know they're expensive, but come on.
Is that bill actually passing?
Oh, they talked about it. Anybody with a bank account that has over $600 of any activity in a year, they've backed it up and said, "Oh, we mean 10 grand." I was like, who doesn't have a bank account that has 10 grand worth of quote unquote activity in a year? That's everybody.
Yeah. You know what's going to happen? They're shooting themselves in the foot because what's going to happen is you're going to get people that own businesses. Like I'm a business owner. I'm a small business owner, very small business owner. Handy owns his own business. There's a lot of our listeners and players here that own their own businesses. What you're going to do is you're going to see a lot more. Yeah, that's going to run you about $1,000, but if you pay cash, I'll charge you $850 or $900.
Well, yeah, of course.
You're gonna start to see a lot. You're shooting yourself in the foot. You're trying to get your hands on more money, but now all you're doing is you're getting to the point where nobody's gonna know. Well, how much money did you make? Oh, I broke even this year, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. Yeah, I just can't quite seem to make it. Yeah, fuck you. Prove me otherwise.
Yeah.
That's just what's gonna happen. So the more you try to take money, the more people are gonna shield their assets. It's ridiculous, but that's that. Anyway, we're not going to get political. So, Level 60, bro. Inko, you fraudulently I hear you fraudulently charged your way to 53.
Basically, yeah.
So
I mean, it's so the jump from 50 to 52 is easy. That's, and obviously all things are relative, but you only have to bump up, like the vault and a generator and, your research station and whatever.
yeah.
So you can get to 52 real quick, but not to just throw a spoiler out there or anything, but to go from 52 to 53, it'll run you roughly 15 trillion par steel.
I was really.
Thank you for ruining my day.
Hey, I want to know, and this is something, I think this is something I think it will probably help them understand, like, the relativity. Like you said, it's all relative. Like, at my level, the most par steel you can get for, like, free, with not counting, like, random daily events and stuff like that, but just, like, for free is maybe 400 million. Through the swarm nanominerals, whatever the fuck they are, biominerals, and then just the few little dailies that you can do throughout the day. It's about 300 to 400 million, somewhere in there. If you were to not spend anything and it was strictly free to play and you did all that stuff, how much could you get in a day at like a level 50 or so?
I have no clue. That's the honest answer.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, it's a couple, like 3, 4, 5 billion, somewhere in there.
Okay, but so
something in there, yeah. I mean, but it's the same thing. Once you get to, and most people, it's like, we talked about a couple of weeks ago. I forget who it was that said they actually read the quest blurbs. Like, I ain't read one of those motherfuckers in ever.
No, I'm not. I become the fastest thumbs in the West.
Yeah. I mean, but it's the same thing when there's, when you get an event or, randomly you're upgrading a ship and there happen to be that one stupid daily that is, or not daily, but the one stupid event that, your limited officer event, not the heroic, but like the random limited whatever garbage that nobody cares about and they haven't updated the cost or the reward for in forever. Yeah. It's like just click, 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 whatever.
You just point, clickety, click, click, click. It's real easy, man.
It seems like the ratios really don't change. Like, yeah, you get 4 or 5 billion in a day, but rather than, the cost increase is pretty much the ratio to from what you get to what you need. It pretty much just stays the same.
I actually think the ratio falls off. Because, if you're in the 20s or something like that, then some of the stuff that you can get from those events is reasonable. But my understanding, I don't think those, and I may be wrong, but I don't think those daily events scale.
I know some of them do.
Some stuff scales, some stuff doesn't.
So like here randomly, so there is some scaling at least. So like this random research event, so complete a couple of research, it gives you 860 mil trit and a dozen or so 5-star random garbage.
Yeah, see, there's no event ever that I would get 860 million tritanium in a day, or 2 days, or a week, or 2 weeks.
Well, but again, so let's just call it a billion trit. So to upgrade one module on a G5 ship is 20 billion.
Okay, so no, I would say the ratios, just from what I've seen, I would say they're about equal.
Yeah.
I would say somewhere around there. I mean, you do get better rewards, and so as you progress, if you haven't done something on, from like a G3 ship or Epic ship or something like that, yeah, those rewards are really awesome about playing catch up with that ship. But for the ships to your level, it's not really. It's pretty much scaled the same way. Like when you got the Enterprise, the amount of tritanium and dilithium you got compared to what it costs to upgrade that thing is going to be the same, just roundabout, as what you're getting at level 42 to upgrade the Valdor. And I know because I'm going through that right now. So the scaling seems to be about the same. So there's something to be said for leveling up in playing catch up, but I think once you get to the current shit for whatever level you're at, I think the scaling is going to be just about the same.
Well, at least, and I think that this is something that they did with this new expansion. I think they did actually fix this reasonably well, because, like, for example, the heroic officer event is up right now, and it gives me 480 of the uncommon 5 stars. Whereas, if memory serves, when we had the G4 expansion come out, like, there wasn't any of the scaling with any of the events. Am I wrong? I don't think we did.
No,
it scaled a little bit, but not.
Like, for example, there's a research event that right now, one of the little daily research events, and at 42, it's still telling me that if I accomplish it by the time I get to the max, milestone on it, I get a whole 179,000 par steel. Like, fucking whoop-de-doo. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. And like 4 uncommon refined. Yeah, I mean, I literally click one vault and I get double that. Like, it's some of that stuff. It doesn't really make any sense to me. I'm like, just take it away. Why do you even offer it?
Particularly the south of the tracks station stuff that is totally pointless, and it's pointless no matter what level you are. Just randomly doing some of the upgrades with this stuff. It's like, oh, look, I can actually click on my dilly generators. It's like, and they're level 53, and I get 40K. I'm like, gee, thanks.
It doesn't. Yeah, there's not. I can't do anything with that.
It's like when you go on like a 12-hour road trip, with your family and your wife, and you drive like 11 hours and 58 minutes of it, and then your wife turns around and goes, "Hey, you want me to go ahead and take over?" It's like, no, I can pull it in the driveway, thanks.
Yeah, why don't you just kick it on in there?
I'll let you carry the keys in the house.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh man.
Anyway, so did you get a new warship yet? Somebody said something about you got a new warship.
Yeah, I went and built the Corvus. So I'm going ROM initially.
The Corvus is the uncommon.
Is it an Explorer?
Romulan
5G.
Romulan Explorer, yeah.
What is it? What's the power level on that thing? Fresh out the
50, I think.
No, out of the box with absolutely nothing, it was 42 million. And I just bought the equipment and tiered it up and leveled it up. So it's tier 2 with 0 additional equipment, but to level 10, and it's 46.5 million.
That's pretty intense.
But comparing it to just doing some simple grinding in these surveys, it looks like it's a little bit underpowered compared to I'd probably compare it roughly to the Ent A, like I don't know, tier 7 or something, ballpark.
But that's pretty typical.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about. I think I was talking to Handy about it the other day. Handy, it may have been you or Chef, one of the two, but we were talking about that. Power, the how many million power you have is really not. It's a decent indicator, but like at the end of the day, I have my Valdor and my Jellyfish are the same power level. They're both like 6.5, 6.6 million or whatever it is. I can't remember out of the dock. But the Valdor will not last as long grinding as my Jellyfish. And like, for example, my Jelly can take out one of the Klingon heavies. My Valdor can't even get the whole health down halfway. So
that's also, I mean, it's been that way, for some time now, where it is very ship specific, and the Jelly was very much always like that. It's a good grinder, but it's terrible at PvP. And I can't even give you the exact specifics of why it is, to be quite honest.
When it first came out, it was great at PvP.
Well, yeah, everybody was way lower.
I know.
I mean,
oh yeah, you're just beating it with a hammer.
Yeah.
Well, No, I have to say that I remember paying attention to people when the jelly first came out. That thing was owning enterprises on a daily basis, and then you get to where now, I mean, a maxed out enterprise fuck up a damn 8 mil jelly or something, you know?
Sure.
And I mean, like we were doing that PvP thing with, we were doing the PvP with Bold and MBD and all those people, and my jelly was tearing up a maxed out enterprise. But I would venture a guess to say that if the crew was different on the enterprise, I may very well have lost. Mm-hmm. You know, and I was like over a mil higher than that enterprise. So it's all relative. People say, oh, it's this many million, it's this many million, and you got people with Saladins out there that are crewed right, that are tearing up, mid-range enterprises and augers and all these other things. So
well, it's also relative. And like the buff they did for the Ent A and the Haida, cranked the hell out of their power, and it did make the ships better. But the Ent A with 55 million power is still 2/3 at best, if not half the ship of a 42 billion trib.
Yeah. For example, last night I had somebody kill me repeatedly. Killed my Ent A with the Tribune.
Yeah, I mean, you're also going against the triangle too, but.
Oh yeah, but I mean, at some point you would imagine that a power level is just gonna make the difference. I watched somebody with a really high Gladius take out an Ent A. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you get an Ent A that's 21, 22 million. You get somebody with a freaking, or not a Gladius. The what's the other one? The Pilum. The Pilum. That's like 28, 29 million. I think that's too much. That's just too much to cover the spread, no matter how you put the triangle.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I think you could have put Yuki as the captain on that thing, and it still would have fucking decimated it. So there is something to be said, but I think that it has to be such a disparity to make a difference. I think that it has to be such a large disparity for it to make any difference.
Well, if you're close in power, then then you got crews and you got researchers that'll make up that gap. But if you're that far apart, then it doesn't matter what you put on it. There's one's going to beat the other.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think the only example that I could throw out there where you pretty much just always lose, as long as they know what they're doing, is if you get somebody with an enterprise and an auger. I mean, you could still have an auger that's slightly higher. If they put Yuki as captain on the enterprise, you're pretty much just done. I mean, unless the power disparity is that huge, which even then a mil and a half, you still see him win. My auger has beat maxed out enterprises that weren't crewed right. But I've also had people with weak ass enterprises beat my auger. Just because they had, I could have had the right crew on there and it just didn't matter. It's the enterprise is way overpowered. So anyway.
At a time when a lot of people hadn't maxed their enterprises out yet. So it was just beating them down with raw power.
Yeah, now you have, with the research, you've seen the maxed out numbers on the enterprise go from maybe 4.5 million to well over 6 million now, just because of the new research. So, it's
gotten way, way smaller.
It's just the research is. There's definitely something to be said there. But anyway, Handy, what happened with this PvP stuff yesterday, man? That was a pretty big. I don't think we've seen a TC battle like that in quite some time. I was actually lagging out.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting the quiet outrage of the server that Bold took that 3-star system was enough to bring pretty much everybody wanted in on it to beat back Bold. It was very interesting.
I saw a lot of people show up. I mean, Dark was there helping.
It was primarily Dark and Nona. There were a few people from, obviously Rogue really brought it to the table. I mean, 20-1 was the score.
Yeah.
And they're a smaller team than Bold, and Bold had the advantage in defending. So it was they got decimated, honestly, and yeah.
Well, I mean,
that's gotta
it
be,
helped. It helped that we were going around swatting them as soon as they flew in. But
yeah, of course. But Rogue did an incredible job. They literally looked like their whole freaking alliance was in there. I mean, there were ships everywhere in every single system. So they had a really, really good turnout.
have we seen any? Have we heard any sort of backlash or anything
No.
like that?
No, I mean, you have the typical people that make the comments in GC, like
GC doesn't. We don't care about. Nobody cares about GC.
but that's about it that I know of.
Yeah, I don't.
PC.
Yeah, that's nobody cares.
Surprisingly, I expected a few people to come start like dry hitting or like throwing a fit like normal, and nothing that I know of.
No. I mean, I think. I mean, you have to give props where they're due. I think that the situation on the other end was handled properly.
Mm-hmm.
Barring GC, of course, you're going to have players that
spout off. Yeah,
they have a set.
Bold seems to have taken it very gracefully. They weren't poor sports about it that I know of.
So you're always going to get the few one-off, people that go in there and run their mouths, and they're like the 32s with nothing but a Saladin. And
yeah, I even had somebody talk crap about one of my crews. I'm like, dude, it's ship F. Like, of course it's crewed like crap. I understand that it's a G4 ship, but all my ships are G4. Like,
that's actually one of the things that I'm looking forward to now is, I'm not locked into crews because of, crew specific ship traits. That's one of the beautiful things before you get the epics is you can put any kind of crew you want, because it really doesn't matter, what your crew does, as long as it's good for a ship in general. But then when you get the epics, because they're crew specific, this one has to have burning, this one has to have hull breach. Yeah. And then you start going down the line, and particularly like Handy was saying, for ship F is like, I mean, shit, man.
I got nothing left.
You got Mabenga.
Mabenga, you got a shot, buddy.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's Mabenga by himself on the bridge with assless chaps. He's ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, by the time you crew out 4 or 5 ships with the correct top deck and lower deck, I mean, there's just nothing left for ship.
You gotta start getting start getting like inventive. You know what I mean? Like you end up having like somebody was hitting my base a while back, and I really needed some power. It was pretty high, and I needed some power on there because they were just hitting it repeatedly. So I need a little bit of a buffer. And I think I put my second jellyfish. I had like a Kang crew on there, like a hull breach crew on the jelly. Like I was just I was just trying to come up with stuff,
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, so
I thought it was funny that somebody thought it would like hurt me or something by talking crap about my crew, and I'm like just thinking to myself, dude, you haven't even started playing the game yet. What do you know about crews?
Like, if I get like some of the things, like if you show up to an Armada with a PMC crew, you're gonna get roasted. If you show up to PvP with Spock on an Enterprise, you're getting roasted. Like there are some things that absolutely there's no excuse for it. Like I don't care what your excuse is. But at the end of the day, like you see some people with weird crews, dude, they might have just been throwing something in a shoebox, shaking it up and throwing it at you because that's all they had. Their other ships are thought out, and they have the crews well thought out, and it's there for a specific reason. But if somebody's level 49 or 50 and they're coming at you with a jellyfish, I guarantee you that crew is probably hot garbage.
Oh, of course.
Like because they had to go find that ship. They forgot where it was. Like I mean,
yeah, I think it was my jelly actually.
Yeah, I mean it's just one of those things.
Like the last ship,
That's what I'm saying. That's the one picked last for the team, type of thing at that level. So
By that level, that the jelly is the last one that you finally replace once you get all the G4 rares, then epics.
Right.
Because if you're running 6 attack ships, you'll have the 3 rares and the 3 epics, and finally you can get rid of the jelly entirely. Well, I wonder if I can scrap jellies now.
You cannot. I already looked. That was the first. That was the absolute first thing I checked when the update came out. I was like, God, let me finally scrap a jelly.
Well, maybe because the scrapyard is a little bit higher, maybe I can. Oh, please.
No,
I'll have to check.
I hate to crush your dreams, but no.
The reason is, and I guarantee you this is the reason, is because there are several events that are based around the ISS jellyfish that you need to complete the event. That I think that's one of the reasons why. Just like the old jellyfish, the reason they don't let you scrap it, because they had some PvP events and some other things back in the day where you needed that jellyfish.
I
think that
the worst reason I've ever heard. It may be true.
I've never actually had the original jelly.
I never had it either.
Okay, so here's the thing. At level 40, I got it because it was in the event store, and I never had one. And it was so cheap. And I only needed like 11 blueprints, and I was like, I'm getting this ship just because, to be honest, when it was relevant, I was 100% free to play, and I never got it. So I got like 62 out of 75 blueprints, or 63 or 64 or whatever. And I saw it pop in the event store, and I was like, I'm getting this ship. And everybody's like, you're an idiot. And I was like, I know, but I always wanted it, and now I can get it, and it'll just sit there. And now I have this jellyfish.
They had an event where they gave everybody a Findra in the chest because in case you scrapped it. I was like, well, I got plenty of prints of Findra, so why would you give me?
Well, similarly, that's probably why they're not going to let you scrap the jelly, because then they would have to offer a chest to everyone with the freaking jellyfish, and they're not doing that.
No, they don't have to do that. All they have to do
there are
is
ways
put a
to get
little
the jelly. Yeah, there are ways to get the jelly BPs, though. I mean,
there are
plenty of ways to get it between TC stuff and there's stuff in the store and they have offers for it and all that kind of garbage.
Anybody at level 50 up gotta have at least 6 of those fucking ships by now.
Dude, I've got 3. Okay, I have 2 built, and one of them I just bring out if I have to defend my base against some of you big fuckers. And then I have a third one that I can build. I mean, I can build another Augur. I can build another Enterprise. I mean, you'll get them by then. But I think you have to remember, just like training, anything in life, if there is a training class, that training class has to be able to be passable by the lowest common denominator. And I think that's in this game. It looks like the way they design a lot of things, for a lot of those events that are not necessarily mandatory events, but a lot of the events that should be able to be completed by everyone, they're trying to make it where it can be completed by the lowest common denominator. And I don't mean that as in you're an idiot or whatever. In the training scenario, of course, you're an idiot. But in this case, it just happened to be free to play or whatever. So I think it's going to be a while before you're going to be able to see that ship be scrappable. And even then, I think they're going to make it something outlandish, like you're going to have to be level 50 or 52 or 54, something like that, to be able to scrap the jellyfish.
Well, but that makes sense. I think level 52 should be the level that you can scrap it at.
Yeah.
And that's what I expected, to be honest. As soon as I saw that they released above level 50 content, I was like, finally, jelly's going to be scrappable at 52. And it's not.
No, they heard you say it, and they're like, fuck that guy.
Is the next thing going to be where they're just handing out ISS jellies to anybody coming off the shark bus?
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, they'll at least continue to make it easier. I mean, that's the whole idea, and that's exactly what they did when G4 came out, is you got to start making other stuff easier to get, so that free-to-play, or minimal pay players can actually get up and at least experience some of the content, higher up.
Yeah,
pretty much. You get a jelly, and you get a jelly.
Thank you.
Pretty much everybody, pretty much everything in this game is obtainable through a free-to-play way in some way, shape, or form. It may take you a year and a half to get it, but even the cloaking, they even said the cloaking is going to be available in the faction store. So save your faction credits, and when it comes out, there you go. You can get your cloaking.
It is kind of interesting. I did think that now instead of having an event like they did when they did G4 for the jelly, so they had the bidding and all that garbage, so that now at least for the G5 space, like the independent miner is available in every faction store. So no matter which one you go to, you can buy the blueprints for a Nova. And if you have a bunch of credits, for Klingon and you don't have as many for ROM or whatever, you can buy some BPs through ROM, some through Klingon, and whatever to build it. So I thought that was actually kind of nice, because finally
that's actually pretty cool.
Well, they finally realized, because like we were talking about before we started recording, they finally realized that they completely fucked up with the disco, right? So they gated it so you can get to the very first mining area of G5 with a disco, but everything beyond that is beyond warp 200. So they're forcing people, because they're probably looking, they're looking at the account and going, dude, how many of those G4 miners did we sell? We sold 3, one to this idiot named Inco, and nobody else bought one. And that's pretty much it. They go, well, fuck, we need more people to buy our stuff.
Yeah,
I do really like what they've done with the new G5 miner. I think that's great that they've made it like the Horizon. It's kind of just an independent ship available in each faction store. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I do think that's pretty cool that you can also mix and match. Like, well, I only need 15 blueprints, but I only have enough to get 5 through the Romulan store, but I can get the other 10 through Klingon, so you can kind of mix and match and come up with it.
As long as you have the rep.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's pretty good. Well, most of you at 50, you should already be pretty close, right?
I mean, as soon as you have to grind out 1.1 billion rep.
Okay.
Right. So if you're already faction locked, in order to get that extra, 100 million is now nothing. That can be done in a day.
Yeah. Easy. Yeah. That's what I think somebody was saying. Like, you're getting like close to 100,000 rep per kill on some of those new hostiles.
Yeah, with 5 on one of the 53 surveys, I get about 140k rep. So just here, what are we, 5 days into this thing? I've already ground out more than 500 billion rep just in grinding.
So what crew are you using on your main grinding ship?
It's the standard crews for the Trib, the Ent, and the Haida.
Okay.
Yeah, because those the PvP, the PvE like Chin and stuff, those are not effective for those ships, correct?
No, they are not. No.
Yeah. Do you?
They don't seem to work.
I guess my question would be: Do you think that there would be a market for you big bastards if they came out with a PvP crew or a PvE crew that was similar to that was for the higher levels? Like if they came out with a comparable Chin, but it was kind of for...
Of course people would get it. Why not?
Big stuff.
Yeah,
it saves your hole.
Yeah, I mean it would be, but again, it's only really helpful for you if you're kind of pushing your own limit. So, obviously I've tiered up the G4 epics fairly well, but it's pretty easy to go and farm in this little, 51 to 53 survey area. There's not the annoyance of the capital systems where you have the heavies and the regulars, right? It's just, I just point and click. I don't care which one it is. And they do give more rep than the standard warships. So you get more rep, you just don't get a triangle. But from a grinding perspective, grinding surveys is significantly easier because you just are pointing. You don't have to go, okay, I've got to move C as the interceptor and I got, play that friggin' game.
Yeah. No. I mean, surveys are always the way to go unless you're looking for ship parts. Surveys are always going to net you the best return.
Well, and also I mean, going for ship parts for refining is still, in my opinion, a complete and utter waste of time. Unless you're truly free to play, then ship parts are just impossible to really get any benefit from.
Well, I tell you, the ship parts that I'm getting, the ship parts that I get now, since I've gone from 41 to 42, and I'm sure there's people out there who are super nerdy about this stuff. And no offense, I don't mean that. Obviously, I actually kind of envy you being able to have the time to look at it. But I've noticed that on some of the pools, I mean, I'm getting 300 ship parts a day, something like that. So, especially for my Valdor right now, it's still pretty cheap to upgrade. I'm just, as far as the ship parts and the mats are concerned, I still need an ass load of titanium. But, I mean, it's actually worth it. I try to refine them as much as possible. So if I can get a couple pulls a day or, whatever, where I can get, a couple hundred each one, I mean, that stuff starts to add up really quickly. I could see once you start getting to the big stuff, where you're talking about, 30,000 ship parts, 40,000, or however much the exorbitant amount is to upgrade a component. I can see where that would be BS, but as far as what I'm seeing right now, it's beneficial for me. Now, the G4 materials, I don't mind G4 unless I have to, unless there's an event. I just don't. It's a waste of time to me. I don't have time to be going back and forth, especially since the mining rates aren't all that much faster, and in some cases comparable to G3. And I got to mine 100,000 just to do the minimum pulls in the 24-hour period. It's just a waste of time to me. I don't want to have to be checking up on it, and I end up getting more. Handy, I think you said this before, and a bunch of you have said it. You end up getting more from the events by 6, 7, 8 fold than what you would get refining. It's almost a joke.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it still is.
I mean, it's the only reason I refine the G3 stuff is because I don't even mind G3 either. I buy it from the faction store. I spend 100 credits every few days or whatever, and I do the minimum refines, and it just trickles in that way because it's so inexpensive. I think the only thing I mine now is isogen. I think that's the only thing that I mine. And if there's an event, I'll mine something else. But other than that, it's just I don't want to deal with it. I'd rather spend that time grinding or doing whatever.
One other interesting change that they've made now going into G5 is instead of having an inflationary type economy with G5, they've actually throttled it down. So G5 mining is actually like half of what you could mine on G4 as far as rates and things like that. And the turn-ins are less. So instead of continuing this ridiculous upward climb, at least they've kind of shrunk the numbers a little bit, which inherently doesn't change, but it does make it so, okay, so now if my ship has a 7 million cargo, it does make a little bit more sense. It's not like I'm farming, 20 million nodes with a 7 million cargo ship or something like that. So they have throttled that down. So functionally speaking, it's going to be the same, but numbers wise, it's a little bit easier.
This seems pretty cool. It seems like to me, just from the different people that I've talked to, you, Handy, and some of the other big players, it seems like they did a pretty decent job with the G5 introduction for the higher level players. It seems everybody's pretty satisfied. Now, that could be because they actually did a good job, or I think also some of it might be, and you guys can speak to this more than me. I'm just sort of posing the question here and just bringing this debate to the table. Some of it might be that you guys are just so fucking relieved to actually have something to work toward again that maybe it could have been the worst thing in the world, but at least you have something to play for.
I mean, that's not incorrect. The thing I think that I wouldn't say fucked up, and this is probably actually somewhat strategic on their point, was that they make the announcement for, oh, here's the future of STFC, and then the next day they open it. So I had built a second Trib and a second Haida. Obviously I wouldn't have done that if I'd known in a couple of weeks, or whatever it is, I'm going to use the rep again, because the rep requirements for the ships is going to scale up some. So for example, to get the Nova is 450,000 credits of whatever faction. So it's not bad, considering if you were getting the G4 epics are 1 million. So most people that have those, are getting into the 50s have that much rep readily available. But one thing to warn people about is they have now really increased the amount of dilly that you need for ships.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive. So to build a Nova is just under 140 billion dilly.
Jesus, sweet. I don't know if I've ever had 140 billion just pass through my hands in total. Like, I genuinely don't know if I've ever actually spent that much.
It's pretty impressive, and they have not done any changes to the ship packs to give you more dilly to reflect that. Right, you still have to use the research packs in order to get dilly.
I think it might be just like anything else, where when the G4 stuff came out, people are like, oh my God, Jesus Christ. And now, it's regular. It's what it is, because as time goes on, we've seen that Scopely does increase things. I think I sat at level 41 for like 6 months, 5 months, 6 months, something like that. And I watched my packs increase twice.
They will over time.
So, and I think that they're doing that, and it seems like it's actually coming at an exponentially higher rate as time goes on. Because I remember it would take, the packs look the exact same for me for almost a year, without a little bit of incremental increases from leveling up. But then it seemed like it started getting higher and higher and higher, and my leveling was slower and slower and slower. So I think they are going to do that, but it's so new. I mean, they can't just. This is the new content.
It's strategic for them. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so
you pay to be the first person to get anything, especially when new content comes out.
They got to gatekeep a little bit.
Right, but that's exactly what they do. Is they count on whales saying, "Oh crap, well fine, now I'm just going to go ahead and because I got to do this and I want to get a new ship, I got to get it in random packs, just like they did with the G4 stuff when they started coming out with those faction packs, right?" Yeah. Because all of a sudden it went from you had to buy your faction packs for credits and you had to buy the ship packs for the mats. But then they came out with basically you get both in one. So they basically cut the price in half, right? Yeah. So they'll do that in the future, but only after they've weeded out, the whales that are going to spend money in order to get the new content first.
In other words,
that's just what they do. I mean, it's no surprise.
In other words, if all the whales don't get the new ships and we all wait a little bit, they'll release a pack for it to get us to buy them.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. You guys are where you're at because you're impatient.
That's true.
I mean, it's not a dig. It's just that is what it is. Otherwise, you wouldn't be there. But I don't know. I think it is received pretty well, and it's amazing to me that everything I read about the release of the new arc before it finally dropped at 12 o'clock my time, it was all going on about the new missions, and it was going on about Worf and this mining officer that I don't give a shit about, but it was going on about all these things. And then it rolls around, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, just another arc upgrade. I don't know if it was just me, but I read those notes. Nowhere in there was it like, oh, hey, by the way, there's this whole new 10 levels, new space, and there's 4 new ships. They didn't say a damn thing. I don't understand, what that should have been your selling point. Like, hey, look what we're doing. Finally, new actual content, something to work toward, new faction rep, new ships, new this and that.
Well, particularly because they gave absolutely zero warning, right? They released these notes, and am I mistaken? Wasn't it the day before?
I am pretty sure that they have literally come out and said that we're not going to see over level 50 content this year. I am pretty sure at some point they had released that comment that we're not going to see it this year.
So that is a little funny. So I'm not exactly sure, unless, like I said, it was to prevent people from realizing that new content is coming out and therefore, closing their wallets for a while. That may have been a strategic thing, but, over the years, I've come to be somewhat suspicious of anything that sounds strategic coming out of Scopely. I think it's coincidental. But yeah, that version of the rollout with we're going to make this announcement, not say a dang thing about increasing the ops levels and add new ships, but I'll talk all about Worf. Like don't get me wrong, he looks like it'll be okay, but like every other officer that comes out nowadays, you're still going to have to wait 2 years until you can actually get enough shards to tier them up to make them, more functional other than niche play.
Yeah, you got to get him up there to be worth a damn. I mean, just like to me, the next generation, the original series crew for PvP is really great, but you're gonna have to wait forever and a day to actually get them to the tiers at which they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I just thought it was super interesting for that, and it was like, you're right. I mean, it wasn't any warning. It seems to me that would be one of the biggest. That's one of the biggest releases of the year, in my opinion. That's the biggest release of the year because now it's not just some simple little month-long arc. This is something that is carried over. This is permanent.
One other thing that people may not be aware of that I actually only recently unlocked. If you look at your galaxy map, the red squiggly lines, that's the superhighway. So if you, for example, are going from, let's say, TC up into the G5 areas, even with, maxed, relatively maxed G4 ships, it's a 20-minute warp time. But once you get your research level 53, you use those little AI tokens, which I still, by the way, I have no idea where they exist in the game, except in the store. But once you do get enough of those tokens, then you can open up those, they call them super highways. And so now if I go from the G5 space to TC, takes 2 minutes. So that at least there is something that will make it better because, again, you can only get to the very first 3 levels of G5 space with your disco. So that at least is a nice feature.
Kind of like transwarp used to be in Voyager, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're transwarp conduits or whatever.
I don't see what you guys are talking about. I don't be seeing no damn squigglies.
Yeah, there's red squiggly lines.
And you see where they all meet in Klingon between the G4 and G5 area at Farana and Arendari. You ain't got no squiggles?
I don't be seeing no squiggles, homie.
Okay, so have you updated your app?
Yeah. Yes, I've updated the app.
Just turn it off and turn it on?
Yeah, I mean, I have.
Is there anybody else who can't see them? No, but if you go to the Klingon area and you look between the new level 50 up area and the regular Klingon, there are 2 systems lit up bright bluish, purplish, white, whatever. Farana and Arendari. There's 4 of those transwarp conduits converge right there.
Mm-hmm.
Spell the name of the
Farana.
Farana?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I see those, but I don't be having no red squigglies on me.
Okay.
No squigglies.
Well, maybe he's not able to see them yet because of his level or some shit. I have no idea.
Is there anybody else who's like, level 42 or something? Go check your shit right now. Tell me if you see squigglies. Tell us if you see squigglies.
Drop it in the podcast chat.
Yeah, drop it in the podcast chat.
Yeah, so that's at least helpful in getting crap around.
And yes. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, Tiger dropped the question. He said the G5 epics are running almost the same ship ability as the G4 epics. And yeah, it does seem like that. I mean, they're just slightly different, but we're just going to have to wait and see how they actually pan out. But it looks like, yeah, they're kind of just copy-paste.
Yeah, and that's not Not unsurprising, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
But at
Yeah.
least for the G5 uncommons, though, they do have different abilities where, at least it's some type of attack or whatever ability for the uncommons, at least.
So Donald Trump does not see the squigglies either.
It's got to be a level thing then.
Yeah, it must be.
Maybe it's once you start. Yeah, maybe it's once you open up that ascension at whatever.
Yeah. So once you are able to travel to the new areas, then you can see them.
Yeah, same here. I see Farana, but it just says it's a fog of war, but no red squiggles.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got. I think it says warp 105 too. It's pretty low.
Well, I will take a screenshot and drop it in the chat for you so you know what they look like.
Yeah, you got to show us poor people what we're missing.
Okay.
Something to look forward to.
I mean, I'll probably never get there, but
But I guess these transwarp conduits or highways, as Scopely has called them. I wish they would have just called them transwarp conduits, but that's kind of disappointing that they're calling them highways. But whatever.
It sounds like they're toll roads too.
Yeah, they are definitely. Well, Inko, do they cost anything to enter them?
No.
They just cost to unlock.
Right. They're pretty looking. They added artwork to a standard pathway and made it locked, is what they did. But
you can unlock all of them.
Correct. It's through your combat research.
And you can unlock all of them at once. And and you can unlock in any of the faction stores, right?
No, they're faction specific. So up at the upper end of combat research is now these. Again, and I have no clue where to get them in game. I got these through the store, but they have the different Section 31. There's Klingon Science Group or KSG, and then the Immortal. So you get those that research you get through the faction store, where you can either do these universal ones and refine them. Let's see what they're called. Yeah, they're called RI Intelligence. So you get this intelligence stuff, which you can refine, and that's used for that research. So once you do that research, you open up one at a time. So there's 4 total. There's a Fed one, a Klingon one, and a ROM one. And then the quote-unquote Origins one is the one that goes south back towards regular space. But they're all obtainable at 53.
And there you have it.
And I'm sure we'll all be asking about this again in 3 years.
Yeah, of course.
When we actually get there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm making sure to write all this down very step specific, because OB needs very specific instructions.
Yeah. The white lines, the white warp conduit lines show up once you've unlocked it, I'm assuming. Because I only have the red squigglies. It looks like you have the red and green and blue squigglies.
Yeah, once you unlock them, they have a white glow. Yeah. But at least with limited testing, it does seem like the AI for warping does recognize those as much faster. So you don't have to click on one of those systems to get on the highway and then click to get off. It does seem like it, at least very limited testing, like it works pretty well.
White line sounds more like the 80s instead of the future.
Well, if you're spending that much money on this game, you're probably doing white lines or something.
You can't afford to do both.
Yeah, right?
One or the other.
Yeah, the expendable capital is going to the game. It ain't going to that, man.
But then again, everybody's got 4 mortgages these days.
Do they?
It's common.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we'll have
what
to.
else?
The only other sad thing I would just say about the expansion is they didn't really increase the gains from your missions. So like if you do a standard mission, you're again getting like 1,000,000 rep, whereas all you got to do is hit 10 surveys to get 1,000,000 rep.
Yeah.
So they didn't scale the missions, and they may change that. That may be just unanticipated, just nobody thought about it. But yeah, that is one thing that did not scale.
I was looking at all the ships that I finally got a chance to see some of the screenshots of. The only one that was kind of like they kind of gave up on, it seemed like, was the middle of the road Romulan ship. It
Mm-hmm.
looked like the pylon, but they bent the wings.
Yeah, it looks like they got lazy with that one.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, well, let's see if we take a torch to it and we kind of curve the wings up maybe a little bit. Okay, that's good. It's done.
Yeah, the art, at least in the in-game art, it is a little blocky.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did notice that it seems like the textures lack definition in game.
Yeah, it's a little more wireframey.
Yeah,
It's not quite as
So-
fleshed out.
hopefully they will fix that.
Is that any different from mobile to PC?
No, they look the same.
I thought maybe it was a little higher definition on PC, maybe.
Shit, man, they're not gonna spend the money to do anything extra. All they did was get it to function on the computer, and they did a couple things, and that's what you get.
Yeah, I haven't noticed any difference whatsoever in graphics and anything on the PC version.
Does
They
it?
just
Well,
Does it run
looks
any
better with-
smoother?
no.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it does.
No, it does not.
Yes, it does.
I disagree. I actually have
It
more.
It runs smoother.
Well, I actually have more instances when I'm farming of the spinning wheel when I'm trying to attack something where something else is already attacking something. I have more instances of that.
Maybe you should close all your windows of porn. Maybe it would run better.
Well, but I can play the game one-handed, so why would I close those windows?
I don't know. So run smoother?
Maybe you should leave your house once in a while and spend money on something other than gaming computers, Handy.
Well, that's asking way too much.
Yeah, but the sole reason that they made it for a PC was so that they could sell it through another shop, so they don't owe 30% of their income to Apple.
Yeah.
Or Android.
I definitely see that. And good on them, I guess. I mean, according to you all, I haven't done it because I don't have a PC. And like I said, I don't really buy anything, so I just haven't done it just because I haven't. And but according to everybody else that has, it's really neat to be able to get some of those new tokens to be able to spend on some other pools and stuff like that. It's like a little bit of a rebate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it is a nice bonus, or at least they recognize, hey, we're making more money, so we'll share some of the discount, and give people a reason to migrate platforms in the same token.
I know this is the first game I ever got a kickback from.
It's fair enough.
I wish there were more, but I'll take it.
I feel like the Rotaran is a little plain. Like it's a cool looking ship, but it's still just a little bit plain.
It seems like, well, to me, it's pretty faithful to what we saw on screen in the shows.
Oh, absolutely. I'm very impressed with that, at least. That the Klingon ships are, and the Romulan for that matter, all of the ships really are pretty right on what we saw in
the Enterprise D even looks a little better, I think, than it did on the show.
I think it looks a little chubby and a little squished together. Like
Who was it in our Nona server? This said the Enterprise D out there looking like Big Head Fred.
It does look a little funky.
Yeah, somebody was running around in a regular Enterprise the other day that clearly had bought a bunch of Battle Pass points that had the Enterprise D refit.
Mhm.
Man, that shit's ugly. I'm not applying that to my Enterprise. It's just ugly, man.
I like it. I
think, man, it looks like if Hey Arnold had a starship.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little fat guy in a little coat.
It's got these cute little nacelles. It's like a hot rod with scooter wheels. I don't. It just doesn't. It doesn't look right to me, man.
It doesn't exactly instill fear and awe, does it?
No, it's a fat guy in a ripstick. You know what I mean?
A ripstick.
So I looked at it and that shit's ugly as hell. And also, yeah. So for anybody wondering, for anyone wondering, no, the Enterprise D skin does absolutely nothing. It's just there to look like a watermelon with nacelles.
All they did was they are just trying to appease people because they knew people are going to get angry at the fact that it's a level 60 ship for the D. And it's just nobody. I mean, there's a lot of players. I mean, let's face it. They're probably going to stop playing the game before they get a level 60 ship for free. So they had to kind of appease those people with being able to make their ship look like it, right?
You know what's funny? I do want to say this, and I mean, level 60 for me is like 18 fucking levels away. It's pretty outrageous. However, I will say that maybe a year ago, I was the one saying, well, I'll never make it to 42 to get a Valdor and blah, 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 blah. Like, so it just doesn't matter. Well, yeah, it's a year later, but here I am. I have one. So we talk all that shit, but they come out with research and stuff like that and all these other things. And it's, I mean, who knows? Who knows? So, yeah, it's pretty exorbitant. I mean, a Valdor's not very expensive. It costs pretty much exactly what it costs to get a freaking the G3 Epic. But I think if you play long enough, if the game's around long enough, I think you could eventually get there if you stay on top of it. So, I mean, that being said, I didn't exactly free to play over the past year. My wife can testify to that, but yeah. So I mean, we'll just have to see. It is interesting. It seems like they're
not
doing
on a flash
better.
drive. She won't.
Not on a flash drive. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so anyway, so to quote Tex, since he's not here, switching gears a little bit. Has anybody seen the preview for the new season of STD?
Yes, I have. Ugh.
Can anyone tell me why the Ferengi looks like a pig that was in a knife fight in South Central?
But budget restraints.
So I did hear this interesting thing. Apparently, I heard an interesting, I don't know if it's a theory, but it sounds like something that might happen. Apparently, with the licensing for Discovery, they're not allowed to use the likeness of the old designs for like merchandising reasons or something. So maybe they had to come up with new designs, which that should have been your first clue to not make the fucking show. But whatever.
Yeah, no shit.
The new Klingons look like ass.
Yeah.
The new everything looks like ass, but we know on this show we don't like Discovery. It's garbage. But I just wanted to bring that up so we could discuss that for a second, because if you haven't seen this yet, if you thought the Klingon design was bad, buddy, have I got news for you?
Yep. But no, I mean, that makes perfect sense, is that it is a licensure type of thing, because otherwise they would have stayed true to form. Because if nothing else, people who are Star Trek fans, you want what you've always perceived it to be. I mean, that's why if you're, uber crazy into it, that's why Klingon is actually a written language and everything. I mean, it's like trying to stay true to form, but they wouldn't have gone so divergent if they didn't have some type of external constraint.
Like that, there's more involved than just the parent company of a franchise. You're also talking about, what if I'm a toy manufacturer and I have licenses to a certain likeness to make money off of it? What if I am a publisher and I'm publishing books and things like that on your behalf and I'm making money off the likeness? You see what I'm saying? There's more just involved than just the company who spawned the idea, because there's contracts galore out there. That's one of the reasons why even on Paramount Plus, up until recently, there were certain, and as a matter of fact, some of them might not be on there yet, there were certain Star Trek movies that you couldn't watch, and they owned the shit because they had licensing with Netflix or Hulu or whatever the case may be, and they had to wait for those licenses to run out. So it's not just about the company that owns it. You got to remember that. You got your merchandisers, your publishers, your things like that, who also have some of the rights to it. And I think until those rights run out and they have everything where they want it to be in this new direction, that you're going to see stuff like that. That being said, your redesigns still look like ass. I mean, the Klingons were bad enough, but when I saw the Ferengi, it looks like his face looks like a botched circumcision.
It sums it up so nicely,
doesn't it? I mean, it is. I mean, there's so many directions you could go with it. If you were talking about the female form, I mean, labiaplasty comes to mind. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so, I think we can quit now.
It looks like they crossbred a Klingon and a Ferengi, is what I would describe it as.
Somebody said something. They were like, we don't know. It's 900 years in the future. Maybe it is a hybrid of a Ferengi and a Klingon, or a Ferengi and a blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we don't know. It still looks like ass. But they could come up with some story. Oh, yeah, this is Quark's ancestor, but his mom mated with an Organian who kissed a frog that was from Kronos or something. They'll come up with something, I'm sure, and it'll probably have a bunch of plot holes just like the rest of it, but at least they'll try.
Or maybe he took a dilithium explosion to the face. I don't know.
Well, but anything's believable, because I mean, there are all kinds of bastards out there, because Kirk and Riker were fucking everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this is literally the same series that there was a green space hand that grabbed a ship. You know what I mean? I mean, some of the stuff that they did back in the day, I mean, I love the original series. I also am able to step back and look at it from the time period. And it was not outrageous for the time period, but we look at it now and it's like that one point where Spock's holding the dog, and it's literally like a poodle with a freaking unicorn thing. You could see the Velcro strap under the dog's head.
I remember that.
I'm like, could you not have just combed the dog's hair around the strap or something to cover it? Because it was just blatant. It looked like a dog with a party hat. And, but you look at the time and you're like, okay, I get it. But now we're in 2021 and you're coming out with the content now that's ridiculous. I don't think the content meets our current era in advancements in technology and effects and acting and things of that nature. It's pretty garbage. Overacting was the thing back in the day. If you watch movies from back in the 60s, 50s, 40s, everything, they were overacting. Everything was way overdone. Like when Chekhov gets like his hand electrocuted on the very first Star Trek movie, and he snaps his hand up and goes, he looks like something out of Ace Ventura. He's like, and you're looking at it going, oh my God, this is so terrible. But in 1979, wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, what else you
Here, I'm posting a photo to the podcast chat, just so people can see what we're talking about.
Are you posting the Ferengi?
The Ferengi dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That looks like the Freddy Krueger version of the Ferengi.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard the argument. They were like, "Oh, what? So you think all Ferengis look alike?" Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, sit your woke ass down. We've seen so many Ferengis that look different in the show. Quark looked different than Rom, who looked different than their mother, who looked different than the Grand Magus, who looked different than Brun. They all look slightly different. They all had different looks. So don't come at me with that BS. You can go ahead and sit all the way back.
But it says 1,000 years into the future, and all the other races
got uglier. Did Tech finally join us, or does he just? I don't know. He must be busy because he's not in here.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Anyway,
he says he was up all night drinking. So, well, he said he was at a wedding, so I'm assuming he was up all night drinking.
That equals drinking.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely equals drinking. Anyway, who do we got? Who do we got with us? PemaGeddon. I don't be knowing who you are.
Pima's in Nona.
Pima's in Nona?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's PemaG.
Oh, that's PemaG. Okay. Come on up, homie. I didn't. Everybody else has a tag. I don't have a tag, but that's because everybody knows who my obnoxious ass is.
Unfortunately.
Better or worse.
Yeah, I don't need one. I know it sounds super pompous, like I'm the coolest guy in the world, but come on, everybody knows who SK is. He's the obnoxious guy.
Well, but I mean, your color show is a hell of a lot better than Madden's was. I'll give you that.
I'm sorry. Did you say John Madden?
Uh-huh.
You just want me to start doing that? You just want me to start doing Madden shit?
You mean like, oh, if they want to win, they're going to have to score more points than the other team? Like, thanks, John.
And then yeah.
If the quarterback throws the ball and the receiver catches the ball in the end zone, that's what we call a touchdown.
And then it's like a brief pause, and you hear, "Thanks, John."
Let's get back in your RV.
Hey, John. Okay, Captain Obvious. Would you like to have all of the best football games in the world named after you? You know, there was a talk amongst other announcers going, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Like, really?
If you buy my game and you put it into your PlayStation, you can play football.
I'm going to be thinking about John Madden shit all day. All right, PemaG doesn't want to come up. PemaG, I thought you had your hand raised. You don't want to come up. Oh, fuck you then. Who else we got down there? Did Lethal leave us? Lethal got sick of this shit. Let's see who else we got. Who else? We talked enough shit, guys. Y'all can come on up, and if there's interesting conversation, then we'll include it. If you suck, we'll cut it out. It's as simple as that.
I don't even know. Does this work? Let me see.
No.
There's settings.
No, it doesn't.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No.
Shut up. I know. I've never done it on my laptop before because I'm killing swarms and talking to you or listening to you.
I've never done it on my laptop either. It's pretty expensive. It's a lot of body weight. Oh, here's PemaG.
Yo, can you guys hear me?
Yep. We got you.
That's great. I was listening probably for the last 10 minutes.
Really? Because that's how long I had you invited to the stage. Fucking.
Well, the thing was, I was on the other window with the game.
Oh, so you didn't. So if you were listening, you didn't hear me call out your name like 5 times.
No, well, I mean, I heard you the last time. I suppose I didn't hear more than once. The last time I was like, oh wait, they're he doesn't want to step forward. What do you mean? Okay.
Yeah. Valhalla. Who's Valhalla? Should we invite Valhalla up here? Who are you? Do you know who you are? I know it sounds like I'm trying to be like I'm trying to be like it's a VIP club and it's exclusive, but we get a lot of randos that jump into the stage that just want to come up here and be like, "Yo, I'm from wherever, Mexico," and you're like, "Do you play the game? What game?" And I'm like, "What the hell? Fuck off!" Like, so we got to like make sure, you know what I'm saying?
I probably wouldn't have joined except for that you offered to edit it out if it's bad. So I was like, oh,
Did I
that's
what?
good. You could edit it. You could clip it out if it was bad or whatever. So, but I don't really have a whole lot to discuss. I'm more like a sponge taking it all in. I'm astounded that there is this expansion going to that level. It just seems like the world of the gods. It's not like Wales. It's more like Zeus and Apollo, and with the demigods and then the humans or something.
So you don't need to make Handy and Inco's head any bigger than it already fucking is.
No, I mean, yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, we're plenty good at making our heads big ourselves.
I just thought you did it so fast. I'm like, what?
I find it interesting. Y'all talking about grinding millions a rep, and here I am excited that I'm like less than 1 million away from my triple lock.
Well, triple lock's pretty freaking awesome.
Well, I gotta build that. I gotta build that
on that note. Hey, Incho, how far?
Oh, you're talking about the first triple lock.
First triple lock.
Oh shit!
I don't know how far down I can hit now, to be quite honest.
You can hit down to 30.
54?
39.
39.
I think it's 39.
No, it's not 39. I already squashed that idea.
Yeah, what level are you?
Well, 51. I'm not 53, but still, I don't think 53 is blocked down at 39.
The truth comes out. He doesn't think.
I don't think. I don't know for sure.
Oh, then shut the fuck up.
Okay, well, let's see. I'll bet you it's 35.
You'll bet me?
Motherfucker. I'll bet you.
Well, it has to be that low, otherwise there's no krill to eat, because all the krill's down in the high 30s.
I bet you it's level 34 or 35. It's definitely not 39.
Well, because 50 was 34, wasn't it?
It seems to me...
No, it's 33, I think.
Let me go on back here, because somebody posted it in... Right here. Lied. It says... Somebody posted it in the Kelvin Memorial Archive, and they said this is the scaling that will go into effect.
I don't need it, Logan.
Who the hell's Logan? Anyway, so it says right here, it says level... Okay, 53 should be... So Handy looks like he might be correct.
I am correct.
Sunshine's always right. Dog's ass some days.
What are you talking about? I'm right like wrong. 99% of the time, you fucking assholes.
You're wrong a lot.
No, I'm not.
You're wrong a lot.
I believe I'm right.
Hey, man, look.
I am the center of my own universe, and I say I'm right.
Did you say sir wrong a lot? That's what I heard.
I'm just saying, a broken clock is right at least twice a day. Okay, so
I can live with that.
I guess if that's your story and you're sticking to it. Okay, apparently once you get to 60 or 59 or 60, then 39 will be the highest that you can hit. So I think that's a bit overkill that you can be 53 and hit a level 33 like some poor guy out there grinding with a barrel. Here comes Inco. Here comes Inco just smacking wings off barrels with his dick. Just.
I can't remember the last time I actually hit a player outside of TC.
That's insanity to me. I'm still surprised I can hit like level 29s or whatever the hell they are, 29s or 30s or 31s. I can't remember what it is.
Well, I mean,
it's just overkill.
Difference in the power, diversity when max level is 39. You're hitting down to what, 26? And those players didn't even have, the G3s.
Here you come along with a maxed out Enterprise, and there's some dude standing on a rock with his dick in one hand and a spear in the other.
Here's the real thing, though. Like, that those players would be screwing with the higher level players if they could. So you have to make them hittable so that they don't mess with us. Because otherwise, there's all kinds of things lower level players can do that would screw with people, right? Like taking G5 nodes in a freaking, a level 32 or whatever.
Yeah.
Or G4.
Or tell the entire galaxy that you're going to go hit their miners.
Oh, that was the one good comment in GC last night.
What was it?
The guy from Dirt who after the TC came out and said, "Well, we're going to come clear all your miners."
Ooh.
I posted my coordinates. I said, "Come on over, bro."
Yeah, come on up. It's only a warp 230 or whatever.
285. 285. Hey, it's like I like messing with those guys that are like, just some, laughably low level for the amount of crap they're talking. And they'll be like, yeah, well, I'm going to you'll never mine again. And I'll be like, what? And I look at their level, and it'll be like level 26. And then I'll be like, yeah, man, come hit me. And here's my miner. And you'll see them fly in, and then they'll sit next to me for a second, and then they'll go away because they realize they can't even hit me. They're so low.
Yeah. Either that, or even if they could hit you, they're probably not going to win. That's how low they are.
Somebody from one of those did that to me the other day. They tried to hit my cavort. And I was mining in TC, and they hit me with like a Voclus or something, and I won. Yeah. And then I got whatever OPL they had.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I've done that.
It happens to me all the time with the Meridian. People slam into the Meridian, then all of a sudden I got more resources. Listen up, guys. If you're lower level, just don't even try to hit Meridians. You're just gonna blow up. Like, you really have to be like level 39 or something like that before you're going to be blowing those up. Or you have to have a maxed out Vidar.
Valhalla, if you can, if you're listening, drop us like in the who is Valhalla? Do we know who that is?
I do not.
Did you just randomly just start inviting people?
Who, me? No.
Valhalla, just drop us something in the chat. Let us know who you are. Know what I'm saying? No? Okay. So, anyway, there you go. What's up? What's up, buddy? Where are you? Who are you?
I'm with Dead.
Oh, okay. That's right. Okay. Now I remember.
I was originally QT.
Oh, okay. All right. What's up? What's up, buddy?
Well, I'm that random bogus, actually, believe it or not, for the most part, almost completely free to play. And I do just fine.
So, what level are you?
35.
That's pretty decent, I guess. I don't know. I recently switched to free to play after dropping a mortgage on this game, so.
Well, I also have I pay attention to all you higher level guys, and all these podcasts have been for as long as they've been going.
You did not drop a mortgage. You dropped like a $5,000 car or something.
A Prius?
Look, we're not talking about amounts of money here, man. My wife listens to the show. She just shut your fucking mouth.
No, this is no. It's all time management. Time management. Plot your goals.
She could have had manicures.
Shut the fuck up. Just shut up. Just shut up, DT.
But I mean, it all depends what you're, what you enjoy doing and what you enjoy. Could be, you can do things and have lots of fun free to play. If your ability to enjoy the game is modified by your expendable income, then more power to you. I mean,
Hey, I'm the last
game
one.
Is a game.
Any of you will ever hear the word Wallet Warrior, anything come out of my mouth, because without you guys, I don't have a great game to play. So
yeah,
I don't complain about a lick of it. I know I get the cloaking free in November.
Yeah, I think a lot of people overlook that. It's like they complain so hard about they're Wallet Warriors. I'm like, this game wouldn't exist, dipshit. There's no ads. There's no subscription.
Exactly.
if those people did not exist for dropping money, you should be dropping them a thank you note. As a matter of fact, send them a couple bucks because they funded your game.
That's what I've been telling people for a couple of days with this exact specific arc is that, okay, I'm Rom, have been the whole time. Not changing it. But we've had nothing but broken officers, and they gave us fed officers to fix problems. It's finally about time that we have a Romulan Klingon-based arc.
Mm-hmm.
Just once. Love it.
It will be interesting. Is there anybody have any speculation of, are they going to do anything for Federation since they gave cloaking to Rom and Kling?
There's supposed to be some anti-cloak stuff, as well as some unannounced Fed ship that gets, I don't know if it'll be the Defiant next year or whatever, some Fed ship that gets cloaking. That's according to Old Man.
Yeah, somebody posted on Reddit some advanced scanning feature.
Because, I mean, at least
I wouldn't be surprised if when they do the DS9 that Defiant's going to get dropped. Probably as like a, maybe just a Fed ship or like one of those. Have they ever dropped a faction-specific one-off ship?
No.
I don't think they have. They've only been independent, so maybe they would make it independent, I guess.
I mean, technically, if you want to be quite technical, like the Botany Bay is a faction ship, and so is the Stella. To be quite technical, because there's a specific faction store that you have to go in to get it. But as far as Rom Klingon Federation, no.
Yeah, so I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they introduce something like that. I mean, I guess they could explain it away by saying it came from a different dimension or whatever, kind of like the jelly.
Right.
That would be the only thing I can think of as some way to explain just the Defiant showing up out of nowhere. And is it going to be a G5 ship? Is it going to be one of those ships that's G3, G4, G5?
Will that be you're talking about some advanced, scanning feature, but will they get around the cloaking feature by having the Defiant be somewhat powerful and giving it a cloaking feature since it had a cloak?
Yeah, it did have a cloak, so.
Well, it would be nice. I mean, I'm definitely hopeful that they're able to actually implement and work this, cloaking, anti-cloaking stuff into some gameplay, because that's one thing that really just has never changed, right? Clicking on reds. But it would be at least interesting. You use one of these random systems, because all the systems that are up in the warp 200 and whatever neutral spaces, they're literally just holes. There is not a planet. There's not a ship. Occasionally you go there and there's a yellow dot for your mission, and that's it. It would be kind of neat to, okay, you go up here and it's some crazy, ridiculous ships that are, set to attack you unless you cloak by them or something. I mean, at least give me a gee whiz feature.
That would be nice. I would like to see some ships that attack you when you enter the system and then make you go for missions there or something. That would be pretty cool.
But the cloak did definitely make TC more entertaining. Being able to sneak up on people who otherwise are, fleeing back to their base or whatever.
Yeah, I got a big kick out of going in there early and seeing how many ships were waiting.
Yeah, it was definitely pretty cool.
I like that.
The cloak drops as soon as you attack, right? Like you're done.
It drops when you're hitting. So I don't know if it gives somebody the alert that they are going to be attacked.
It's not supposed to, but it was at least initially doing that. It was a bug when they released it, like the private captain.
Well, like that 66% chance that you won't know who hit you, like that doesn't work as far as I know, unless they fixed it.
No, somebody posted it in GC on our server 34. They posted it in GC yesterday or the night before last. Somebody was crying about it. To whoever hit me with the cloak on, blah, blah, blah. They were whining about it. I can't remember who it was. But
that's great.
Yeah, so somebody was crying about it, so apparently it does work. But I mean, then again, Scopely percentages don't matter. I mean, I've done in 3 days, I've done 3 or 4 away team missions and had like a 99% success rate, and I
yeah.
failed them all. I failed them all. Like, what?
I've done that so many times in a row. It's like you have an 80% chance to do this, and I'm on my 5th one, and I haven't got it yet. It's like, what?
Yeah,
scoping math with percentages doesn't make sense.
Well, and with if you look at the announcement notes with the cloak, it said 66% base. So I can see research coming to increase that eventually to 100.
Right, or level of ship dependent upon and it increases as it's.
It probably won't go to 100, but it'll go to like 75. That's kind of what.
Same way that cap mitigation.
I'd like to see 100%. I think
that's just going to be. I'm going to tell you right now what that's going to do is if you see 100%. Well, no, 100% is going to break any diplomacy in this game. People are just not going to be ROE anymore. They're just going to get sick of it because people are going to be getting hit so hard. Like, the only person who's going to know that I took your lunch is me. If I'm close, and it's 100%.
Let's face it, people talk. They can't help themselves, and we'll find out.
Maybe. But the thing is, I guarantee you a lot of people are just going to be like, man, screw this. I'm just going to start hitting everybody because that's just the way some of the people are in this game.
But at least you can only cloak, once every whatever your timer is, 6 to 8.5 minutes or something like that. So
the biggest gameplay change that I've seen is armadas, because all you have to do is cloak in, kill the leader 30 seconds before the armada launches, and it's dead. Whereas before, you could do that, but, chances are they, at least could try to kill you beforehand. Now there's no way to stop it unless the leader he could come in and also be cloaked, then you can't kill him. But then what if you can't use your Fed ships, or what about ECs? So armadas, I think, are the biggest impact of cloaking.
Yeah,
I can't wait for it to affect TC in a manner where you're going to have 2 separate teams entirely cloaked. So nobody's going to know anything.
And it's going to lag out like crazy. And you're like, wait, there's only 5 ships in the system.
Yep, and everybody who's over in New Orleans just trying to mine G3 gas will never be able to reset a node again.
Yeah, it's. I'm telling you, the amount of mayhem. Would it be funny? I mean, I think so. Like I said, I'm at the point now where I don't mind G3 or G4, so that part doesn't matter. But damn it, I still need isogen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you get it to 100%, man, I'm telling you, the server would fall apart, and we'd end up being, the people that spent the money would be there, but that's pretty much it.
Kirk, you know what's going to happen if it gets to 100%, right? Handy's going to come out with his grand plan of you can only cloak on Tuesdays, and only if you don't have isogen.
What are you talking about?
Oh my god! Oh my god! No, here's the bitch of it. Here's how it would go down. Somebody else would come up with this. Handy would try to help in diplomacy, and then later on, everyone would blame Handy for nobody being able to cloak.
Right. That's more likely.
And it was all Inco's fault because he told Handy to do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what happened was everybody who's hitting while they're cloaked are being paid by Inco.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, we're already doing that, right?
But on my server, I'm on 50. Right? I've got a guy who left my my alliance because he couldn't follow ROE anymore. He was nice enough to leave first, right? Of course, it resulted in 3 days of probably the most intense war I've ever had. I've never killed 300-400 guys in 3 days, but I did. But he went out and bought it. He's not a spender, and he's flying around killing armadas with his auger because he can. So you're going to have a lot more of that. People who are bored and go, I'm going to go blow stuff up.
I definitely believe it.
Yeah. I can see that.
Well, I tell you what.
already have half of this server that's already going to assume that Nona just makes the rules.
Well, I tell you what we're going to do is we're going to use this as a good stopping point, and then we'll jump in the after party. So, thank you everyone for joining us. Everybody that's on stage. I'm not going to sit here and rattle off the names like Tech does. So thank you for coming in and joining us. like, subscribe, all the things that we need to do, algorithms and so forth, and helps the channel, all that shit the tech says. And that's it. We're out.
Good ending. I like that.